Here is a word defined as a place. This word could also be defined as an element of time, such as here and now. But it doesn't seem too out of place to perhaps add some other connotations to this little four-letter word. Hopes and ambitions and successes, the upside of life. But then there is also disappointment and pain and sorrow, all of those things that can make one night seem like a year when adversity bears down until our knees begin to buckle and we wonder if the night is ever going to end. Here is us. Here are people that are riding the hills and the valleys of life. People, whether admitted or not, who are looking and hoping for a way to bring some sort of balance to their lives. Something tangible that they can believe in, something they can anchor their hope on, something that will stand against disappointment and adversity. Many avenues have been and are being explored to alleviate or eliminate the problems of life. Our government tries to buy it off. And there's certainly nothing wrong with feeding the hungry or providing medical attention for the sick or many of the things we do as a government to alleviate hardship and suffering. It is simply the fact that money is not always the answer to our social problems. If we pause in our busy lives and think, we will find that all of life's problems, pain, sorrow, even obnoxious things, the little intricacies of life that sometimes slow us down and cause impositions for us, and things such as death, all have a common root and are fed from a common source. It all began in the Garden of Eden when the first couple chose to believe a lie. Adding one word would change the course of life for all mankind, and that word is sin. And the human mind has never found a cure for it. With the advent of sin came all the woes that beset the human family, and with sin came death. So what then is the answer? Is there any hope for mankind? Well, while we're reading about the fall in Eden, remember that as our Creator was condemning sin, He told the serpent that one would come who would bruise his head. But long before this would come to pass, history would record some very interesting events. About the time humanity reaches the bottom of the pot, someone comes along who believes in God, and is one who he says that he is the I am that I am, and finds grace in the eyes of the Lord. This man by the name of Noah preached for 120 years, warning the people of God's displeasure with their sinful nature, all to no avail. The rest of history, the ark, the flood of water, the total destruction of sin, all brought about a new life. We think about Abraham, who was told to leave his homeland, to travel to a land that he knew not where, or for that matter, if it even existed. But his faith in God, faith that would move him to offer his promised son, born out of season on the altar of sacrifice. Faith so great that God would make of him a great nation, that through his seed all the nations of the earth would be blessed. Now, what has all this to do with me, and what do I do about my problems? For one thing, all had one common assurance, and those words that were the foundation for their motivation and subsequent accomplishments: I will never leave thee or forsake thee, and lo, I am with thee always. Gideon, David, winning a battle against unbelievable odds, governing a nation, Naaman cleansed against leprosy, and the list could go on and on, example after example, all pointing us to one fact: we have never been forsaken, we have never been left by God. Friends, it is us, here and now, letting our ambitions, our success, our adversities, and disappointments come between us and our only source of strength to cope with all of them. Well, again, we may ask, well, what is the answer? Where do we find it? We go back again to where it all began. This one who would bruise the snake's head, this prophet whom Moses spoke of. David sings his praises throughout the Psalms. Isaiah calls him Wonderful Counselor, the Mighty God, the Everlasting Father, the Prince of Peace. Time after time after time, the prophets of God tell of the coming of one who will bear the burden of our sin. We're able to follow in his footsteps as he makes this journey through life. We see him being born in a manger. We see him beginning his earthly ministry. We see the struggles that he faced. We see the glory that was his ministry. We see his death on the cross. We see his glorious resurrection from the dead. We see his ascension into heaven, where he is now seated at the right hand of the Father, reigning over his body, which is the church. Here and now is all of us looking for this Savior, looking for this ark of safety, and our guide is waiting for us at the cross of Calvary. Thank you for joining us for our program today, and have a blessed day.